couple of hours time not enough to develop on and do something about it. So why not we do something later with the teams involved and get into a design thinking workshop for the QMS itself and come up with what is the probably blueprint of our QMS is going to look like, right? And how this QMS would look like, not in terms of just like a hypothetical design, but to handle the matters of like people, process, and the technology. So when we think in terms of the needs of our organization and we think out of the box as well as challenging what we have been doing and how we want to reinvent is going to be a significant task. It's not going to be so simple. And I'm sure that the collective brains who come together and tackle the problem maybe in bits and pieces is going to help us a lot, collectively learn from each other and the experiences that we have to reinvent ourselves. And it's not just the QMS per se, the set of documentation that you have, but the entire QMS ecosystem. How do we do audits of such an organization? How do we do reviews? What is the quality perception here then? How do we monitor things? What is the defect? Do we have enough of time available in such a dynamic scenario to spot a defect and do corrections? Can we be more preventive? Right? And this has to be done by design. It cannot be done in the way that we have been doing in the past. And this is a more complex problem that we have to solve, right? So it's a humble request to all of you to just drop a mail to me or Madhu, and we will let you know the logistics of doing this. And the session is typically looking at the QMS design and breaking into a problem that we want to handle, getting into small teams, and then coming up with a prototype of what we think as a probable solution for doing it. And of course, I'm sure next B-Spin we can have few of the case studies being demonstrated of how we have reinvented MSS. So I'm sure Rinka will be proud of that we took his message in a sense literally and dwell upon it and brought the learning for reinventing ourselves. So that's what that's what I wanted to share for today. So thank you for the opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be here at the 25th anniversary of B-Spin and contributing towards the community and the cause that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Anant. As people say, the best is always kept for the last. So, and he also gave a reason for us to meet again and again.
Yeah.
So that's fabulous. So can we have a round of applause for him? Thank you.
So this is very good that it's not stopping, it's starting from
Yes.
Yes,
It's
it's
a
starting
good
from
start.
Yeah.
And I'm a showstopper, literal sense here. But it's a beginning of the new session that we have.
So we plan to have a one-day session sometime in October.
So can I request Mr. Vadiraj to join in and say thanks to Mr. Anant Manvata.
Thank you, Mr. Anand for this session. Every good thing has to come to an end. But as told by Frank Herbert, there is no real ending. It's just the place where you stop the story. Saying so, we come to the end of day 2 of 25th B-Spin Annual Conference 2018. With this, we are also coming to the end of the 2 days conference. May I call upon Mr. Manish Kumar to come over and thank the gathering. Thank you.
Thanks, Vibha. I hope you can hear me. Okay, I think the 2 days of session has been quite fascinating. We learned a lot, and I would like to thank, whole lot of people who are behind this, to make this happen. I'll just, indulge another few minutes, before we disperse and formally close the event today. An event of this scale would not have been possible, without I mentioning, some of the details of folks who were very closely involved. First of all, I would like to thank all the speakers who were there on day 1 and day 2. We had a total of 19 speakers who turned up for the session. Nevertheless, we also saw a good amount of discussion on the hackathon. So it was the first time BSpin arranged business hackathon. We had participation from 26 different organizations who presented their case studies at Sasken, and then based on that, the final ones who could make it to the final, they came here, they presented their cases on day 1. So thanks to all those organizations who were present for the business hackathon cases. I'm extremely thankful to the session chairs and our advisory group members, Mr. S.M. Bala, Mr. K.K. Raman was there with us in the morning, Mr. Deven Malhotra, Mr. Vishweshwar Hegde, and Mr. K.S.G. Sankar. You all have been very, very supportive of any guidance, obstacle, and support of any magnitude that we were looking at to ensure that the event happens successfully. So thanks a lot. And before I go on for the next set of folks, a very important team that has put this together, I must say that I'm very, very impressed and touched by the ability of all the participants. Exceptionally, you all who deserve a large round of applause for being able to engage with the speakers. Let me thank the BSpin Executive Council members. May I request them one by one to come on the stage for a group photograph. I would like to call on Aarti, if she's here. Anand has not joined us today because of some other commitment. I would request Mr. Vadiraj to join us on the stage. Mr. Selvaraj, Mr. Sarvanan, Mr. Hari Krishnan, Mr. Hari Prakash Agrawal, Narasimha Murthy could not join because of some other commitment. Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan is not keeping well. Mr. Vinay Baital. I would also like to thank Sajin for the effort he put in. He was part of the Executive Council, and then he has passed on the baton to Mr. Vinay. Mr. Joshua. And lastly, Madhu.
Babu also.
Babu? Oh. So Babu actually is a very important person in our group. If I would have done that mistake, I think he controls the entire finances. Yeah, please, Babu. I think...
And Manish.
So they all, deserve a large round of applause. Yes.
Bala sir.
I think Bala sir and Vishu sir.
And Richard, please. Richard.
Vishwa, you are left out. I think.
Vishwa, please.
Richard. Yes. I would request Mr. Joshua and Vadiraj to stay back. That's because of, I think, across the executive council, I mean, everybody can. But there are a few folks, who took so much of effort and time to ensure that this event, is done successfully, and I cannot help enough by thanking, these two gentlemen who are here and the other two who are not able to join the event today. Joshua has led the entire event management aspect, from a principal context. Wadi has been the backbone of entire, activities which are happening. He was the backup. A number of things he has done. I think we don't have sufficient time to talk about that. May I request Madhu to come and present a token of appreciation to both of them. In addition to what I spoke about Joshua and Wadi, I would also like to, especially acknowledge the effort and contribution of Mr. Anand Seller from KPMG and Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan. Both of them are not available today, but they have equally played a very important role. Lakshmi Narayanan came up with the concept of hackathon, business hackathon, first time within BSpin, and Mr. Anand, he took care of the entire, speaker panel for day 1 and day 2. So he conceptualized, how exactly it would go about. Of course, there was support provided to him by our Bala sir at multiple stages. But I would definitely acknowledge that as a special contribution for Anand as well. So maybe later, once we meet, I would request you to hand over the mementos to them also. Next, I would like to acknowledge the support provided by NJSM, Nixon Johnny Sound Management System, and especially Mahendra and Chandan from the event management team, as well as the hotel staff of Taj West End, to make this experience a memorable one. I would also like to thank the photographers, Mr. Ramchandra and Vishwa. Yeah, I think they have been taking the photographs, but their photographs might not have been taken by others. So can I request them to come on the stage?
We have been taking them.
Okay.
Ramchandra, where is he?
Please.
Go.
You can teach me how to take. I will.
Yeah, and where do we have, Vishwa is there?
Vishwa.
Yeah. I think they have covered the event very well, and we are going to very soon see all those photographs on the social media. I request you all to actually visit our handles, social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. And we are looking forward you to do a hashtag to BSpin. And the best of the tags will actually, will get a next session as a free participation. So we look forward for that. I would also like to thank, our sponsors, Mindtree, Siemens, Digital Core Technologies, PM Power Consulting, as well as KPMG for supporting us for the event, and especially would like to acknowledge a few of the names who were there at the stall throughout the day. From PM Power Consulting, Mr. Shantanu, Anand, Vasu, and Chitra. From Siemens, we had actually Lalit, Lohit, Samindra, Pritish, Abhishek, Naveen, Anup, Pratibha, and Padmani, who took charge of the stalls. From Mindtree, we had Mr. Janardhan, Jayan, Rajesh, Ashish, Venkatesh, Yogesh, and Mirnal. I would also like to thank folks who have supported us at the registration desk, led by Vinay, Ashrija, Srinivas Rao, Amit Jain, Varsha, and Roshni. there is a long list, so it definitely takes time because there's 2 days of event and I want to conclude them in just 5 to 10 minutes. I think we have a long list. You all know that B-Spin is a not-for-profit organization, and the folks who are associated with this, especially the advisory council or the executive council of the organization, these folks take out time from their busy schedule to ensure that they contribute and reach to this level. And to support them, in various activities, we always, are humble and acknowledge, the effort and contribution of the volunteers, especially who made this happen. So without their support, I think the EC and AG will not be able to do as much we had thought of. I would like to especially, acknowledge all of them and request also to come on the stage. Let me call out the names. I would request first the MCs who were the face of the event. I would like to request Pooja, Lakshmi and Vibha to come on the stage. They are from Mindtree, part of the quality team, and glad to have been supported by them. We would also like to call folks from other organizations, including Mindtree. We had volunteers from Wipro and Capgemini. Let me call out the names from Mindtree first. I would like to request Mr. Ashish Sabrinath, Lakshmi, who is already there, Vibha, Rajendra, Shiva, Puneet and Milan. Can we have you all on the stage?
Amit,
Yeah. Please come over.
Amit.
Yeah. And Srinivas Rao. I would like to call Mr. Dhananjay from Wipro. He has helped us as a volunteer, and from Capgemini we have 2 folks supporting us, Mr. Rajit Pillai and Mr. Karthik. Yeah, and Anand. Anand from Mindtree. Oracle. So I think it was a great effort put down by all this volunteer team and for all the time and effort. I think last 15 days is what I'm told that they have been putting their soul and effort to make this. Yeah. Fantastic. So, at the end, I would like to close by saying just a small proverb. There is an end to everything, but I believe that there is never an end, but always a beginning. With this remark, I would like to officially close this 2-day event, and we look forward to have another enriching and learning session from B-Spin. So.